Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm in one of my favorite filming spot locations because guess what? We have that one compact performance car that really has been surprising a lot of people over the past couple years. It's this car right here. This is it. This is a Hyundai Elantra N. But before we get into this intensified, turbocharged sedan, let's talk about what's going on here. Hyundai. They've been around here in the United States since about 1986. It all started with the Excel hatchback and the Hyundai Excel sedan. I don't think anybody, including me, you, and the rest of the auto industry would realize that by this point in time, what Hyundai would be bringing to the automotive market. Now, of course, it took a few years, but I really think that now they have shocked and surprised everyone, not only when it comes to SUVs like the Palisade, we have that updated redesigned Kona coming, and then of course the Ioniq 5 and the introduction of the Ioniq 5N. But you know what? Hyundai knew that to compete with the best of the best, they needed a performance sub-brand, and that's when the letter N comes into play. Now what's fascinating is that here in the United States, they started that whole sub-brand with the mighty Veloster N. Very interesting that they went that route, especially now that the Veloster has met its demise, but you know what? The N branding will continue, and when you see that letter on a Hyundai product, you know that it's not just a bunch of stickers and some graphics, it's all about performance, not just with what's under the hood, but also around the rest of the car. Now this particular one is actually been brought to us from Orlando, one of our big Rady's Rides subscriber fans and part of the Rady's Rides family, Joel, really being grateful, and we're grateful to him to bring out his vehicle. He's made some modifications, and I think that's one of the things we forget is that with these types of cars, yeah, from the factory, they're quick, they got the sound and everything else, but Joel has done just a couple things, and I think you're gonna be surprised with the results. So what I wanna find out is, if you're looking for a sport compact performance car, that yes, you like it in its stock form, but you wanna kinda do a few things, is the Elantra N, and the way that Joel did it, the way to go? Let's go ahead, let's dive in and find out. Right off the bat, the style. It's one of those vehicles that you're definitely gonna know that there's something special about it, but it doesn't go too over the top like some of the other vehicles in its class. Now, one of the things that I like, especially with Joel's, is he did something to kind of take care of one of the zonks, and I'll get to that in a second. Now, what you'll find, just like before, is that great LED lighting, especially the way that they work the daytime running lamp. One of my favorite parts of the vehicle is that there's a lot of functionality, especially on those corner air curtains. And this particular color, to be honest with you, is probably my favorite. I like performance blue, but you know what? There's just something about this color. It seems that it's been very popular, and it kind of pops up on a lot of different brands' vehicles. But I think that Hyundai did a great job with it. That red trim, whenever you see that, that's part of the N branding, just a little bit, nothing too crazy. But my favorite part is as we come across the nose, we have that Hyundai badge that's actually been covered up and sort of removed in a way. And that was one of the things that was a zonk, was that they placed this ginormous Hyundai badge and it kind of ruined the lines. You could see the way that Joel did it. Now we have that nice V for victory, V formation going towards the windshield, and everything down here is nice, fully open and functional. And then of course, there it is, that N performance badge. It's just like the M badge on a BMW, STI badge on a Subaru, and that really is gonna let you know that this is bringing the business. Now, as we rise up, I love that low slung hood, and then coming around the bend, what are we working with? Wheel and tire setup. Now, the nice thing about this particular one is that the way that Joel did it, he really created a sleeper. And if you don't know what that means, it's a car that basically looks stock, but once you go on throttle, that's when you surprise the heck out of everybody. So looking at the vehicle from the side, he's still running stock rims and tires, and that's not a bad thing, because remember, we have those 19-inch wheels, like the machined aluminum, the satin black. They're gonna be wrapped with those Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires. What I love about these tires, they give you the stick, They give you the grip, but they also give you some durability. These are not gonna wear out, well, depending on how you drive, they're not gonna wear out within 3,000 miles like some of those stickier tires, but really think that the way that this came from the factory was a good way to go. We have an over 14-inch rotor, and then you'll notice the N branding with that bright red on the calipers. The other big part of the equation that you can't see is gonna be that limited slip diff. Without the limited slip diff, this vehicle would not perform the way it does. But of course, being a true compact sport performance car, they gave it that limited slip diff. Now coming down the side, gloss black on the mirror cap. I think one of the biggest things that's gonna surprise a lot of you is that if you've wanted a Civic Type R, if you wanted a Integra Type S, and you were upset that it didn't have a sunroof, guess what? This actually has a sunroof. So nice to see that those who want the sunroof, Hyundai is saying to you, you could have your performance cake and you could eat it too with that sunroof. Love the way they did the side sill extension, especially there's that N badge on the side, and that was something that really, like I said, ties in that front badge. Coming down the rest of the vehicle, definitely check out Joel's progress on Instagram with this vehicle, because I know this is not where he's gonna stop. This is only the beginning, so check him out on Instagram if you wanna see, especially if you have one of these cars and you're kinda interested, well, what are other people doing? You could actually follow this car on Instagram. Working our way towards the rear, like I said, you're not gonna get a ginormous basket handle type of spoiler, but they do give you a rear trunk spoiler, and I've always liked the way they gave it such a unique style to it. Another thing you'll notice that Joel did, he blacked out the Hyundai badge on the trunk lid. Of course, you're gonna get the LED lighting nicely angled, and then going all the way down to ground level, instead of having some like coffee can hanging off the back, we just have the stock exhaust. And you know what? That nice large round opening slash cut, one exhaust tip on each side with that rear diffuser. Not only does it look good, but it sounds good. But let's get to underneath the hood, because this is where the sleeper surprises are lying in the bed underneath the hood. Let's go check it out. All right, guys, we got the hood popped on Joel's Elantra N. Right away, here's where you're gonna notice some of the changes. Now, you say, well, I could see the changes so easily. Yes and no. There's some things that you could see, but there's some things you definitely can't see. I love, absolutely love that carbon fiber engine cover with the N badging, the turbo script there. It's almost like something you could hang on the wall at your house as a piece of artwork. And then where does the rest of the magic come from? So of course we're working with that 2-liter turbocharged inline-4 from Hyundai. And with what Joel has done, we're looking at around 380 horsepower. Now, how is he doing this? This is the magical part. First of all, the Elantra N comes with something from the factory called octane learning. And what that means is based off of what octane level that you're running and driving with, it's gonna learn that, and it's gonna make adjustments automatically to the ECU. So stock, you're looking around 18 to 19 pounds of boost. What Joel is getting is around 22 to 23 pounds of boost. Now, how's he doing this? First of all, you'll notice that we have the 6th element airbox. The intake, especially that carbon fiber intake, that matches very nicely with the carbon fiber engine cover. And then he does have hidden very well a JB4 connected to this, but it's just a piggyback system. It's an off-the-shelf tune. This vehicle has not seen any type of pro tuning, and he has a 6th element downpipe. Now, quarter mile, and I've seen the time slip, so don't say you don't know what you're talking about, Joe. You're making the numbers up. I have seen the official time slip. Joel actually has right now temporarily framed it until he gets his next fastest time slip. But you're looking at, in the quarter mile, 12.2 seconds at a little over 116 miles per hour. Now, to put that in perspective for you, a stock Elantra N turns around a 13.4. And obviously, lots of different things depend on that. Ambient temperature, even the amount of fuel in the car, because fuel is weight. Those types of things are going to make adjustments, but this is with the stock Michelin tires, and it's going to be interesting to watch Joel's journey as he takes this vehicle. And remember, the Elantra N with the 8-speed DCT weighs around 3,313 pounds. Now, the one thing that I said to Joel was, first of all, it's amazing how you hit everything. And one of the things I want to point out, Steven, is when you look at where the firewall is and that turbocharger, you can't even tell that this has a downpipe because of how smart Joel was with hiding it with the stock heat shielding there. So yes, some of the things you could easily point out and you would say, oh, of course, he's got an intake, he's got a different air box. Okay, whoopity-doo-dah. But when you see the numbers, that's the proof in the eating of the pudding. And there's definitely a lot of good pudding underneath the hood of this vehicle. But gonna be interesting to see what the on-throttle experience is like. And it's also interesting, let me know what you think. If you have a Civic Type R, if you have, maybe you bought one of those GR Corollas, maybe even bought an Integra Type S, are you kind of surprised with the horsepower that's being produced by this, and especially that quarter-mile time and the trap speed, 116, a little over 160 miles per hour. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire up Joel's Elantra N and hear what it sounds like. Guys, we're inside Joel's Elantra N. Now, the amazing thing is that Joel has told me that this thing does not overheat. It's got the stock intercooler, and it has, of course, from Hyundai, that transmission cooler. So the transmission, even when he's running at the drag strip, does not overheat. Now, I know you're probably saying to yourself, well, Joe, I'm Joe, he's Joel. I want to be like Joel. I want a sport compact performance car. I want to do a few mods to it. I don't want to break the bank. How much is one of these? So MSRP is right around $33,000 when you go 8-speed DCT. You could also get this with a 6-speed manual, but let's see how the Elantra N stacks up to the other performance cars. To the door panels, I like the Alcantara. The rest of it, I'm not really digging because it's a lot of hard plastic. So that's primarily the main zonk in here is the hard plastic. Of course, Joel keeps up to 8 racetrack Twinkies when he's blowing off the doors of 392s, Chargers and Challengers and Mustangs at the track. But going from the door panel to the dash, you got your blue ambient lighting. You can just see it a little bit here in the shade. My favorite part, though, is the infotainment system, especially the way they have the instrumentation, all of the good stuff, oil temp, engine temp, turbo boost, gear indicator, power, even lap timer. Nice that Hyundai did that. Working your way down, you got your AC controls, and then I'm gonna move the shifter out of the way. That is Joel's official Elantra N cell phone, and that's the, obviously the tuner, that piggyback tuner that's showing us all of the instrumentation on his phone. That's live time. So I really like the way that is. This is our shifter for that 8-speed DCT. Love the blue stitching. You got a real e-brake, no electric e-brake, mechanical e-brake, soft touch material, and then the seats are my favorite. I love the seats. These seats are like Recaro's. The N badge actually lights up. Love the silver trim, the Alcantara, the bolsterings, manual adjustments for the passenger and the driver. And then, like I said, you go Elantra N, you could get a sunroof. Can't do that on a lot, pretty much any of the other cars this competes with. But why don't you get your butt over here? I want to show you behind the wheel of Joel's Elantra N. All right, guys, here we are, business time behind the wheel. Love the nice aluminum sill plate. It's all on the touches, not just about performance, but also on the touches, especially the interior. Large aluminum dead pedal, brake pedal, and throttle. And then, of course, these seats. Now, if you're scared that the seats are gonna squeeze you like a vice grip, don't. They feel fantastic, especially once you get in. The steering wheel, 2-piece leather, Love, of course, the N shift mode. Paddles on the back of the wheel to go up and down that 8-speed DCT, and then you have the full digital instrumentation there with that tach. Nice, large, clear display. That is still a zonk. The Elantra N Death Star, or I should call it the Hyundai Death Star. Totally don't need that. Get rid of that. But other than that, this thing is amazing. Now, I'm not showing you the back seat. If you want to see a back seat, I do have other Elantra N reviews. If you want to see the trunk, same story. If you're ready, I'm definitely ready. Let's go on throttle in Joel's Elantra N. All right, guys, we're in Joel's Hyundai Elantra N. I have launch control activated, Sport Plus with exhaust sound, and of course that electronic limited slip diff. Left foot on the brake, right foot on throttle. Release on throttle, here we go. Nice fast shifts, put you back in the seat. Really performs so well in a straight line. And then the best news is when you get to the twisty bits, the car just instantly turns. And remember, we're talking about stock suspension, stock brakes. But this is what happens when you get a bunch of BMW M engineers to come on over to Hyundai. This is what they bring with the N Performance badge. And I'm telling you, it is a cruise missile. Very, very deceiving. I love the sleeper look. People are gonna look at this and be like, oh, it's just another Elantra N. But boy, oh boy, when you go on throttle, especially with this 8-speed DCT, that really is the optimal transmission if you're gonna take this to a drag strip. 6-speed is fun, I'm never gonna argue that, but you're not gonna outshift the 8-speed DCT. Plus remember, this DCT has that transmission cooler to help keep the gearbox temps down so that you could repeatedly be quick at the track. I shifted the shifter over to my leg, driver's side, use the paddles. If you're ready, I'm ready. We're gonna just pull away here and then we're gonna go on throttle. On throttle, yeah! That shifts from that DCT. Look at the way it turns. Who says a front wheel drive car cannot handle the twisty bits? All the way up to red line. Every time you shift, it's like a donkey kicking you in your back. On the brakes. Here we go. Nice. Absolutely love what Joel has done to this Elantra N. Look at this. Talk about N shift mode. I have an N across my freaking face. Unbelievable. You can literally feel the differences with those changes. And like I said, we're not talking about a Pro Tune. We're not talking about larger intercoolers and all this other stuff. We're talking about some simple mods. And that's it. All right, guys, one more time for you, one more time for Joel, definitely one more time for me. First gear, slow roll. I'm shifting with the pedals. On throttle, yeah. Wow. Love the pops, the bangs, everything coming out of that exhaust. So good, so amazing. Woo-hoo-hoo. Talk about Rice Krispies, man. Absolutely breathtaking. The sound on those brakes. Nice smooth downshift. Look at this. Woo-hoo-hoo. No understeer. It's amazing what Hyundai can get with this Elantra N, and then the balance. And I'm not death gripping the steering wheel. I mean, it's that easy to drive. It's nice, tossable, playable. Like, here's the great news. At the end of the day, you're driving a car that you could daily drive. You got a full trunk. You got a back seat. You got all these things, and that's why I like these cars. They're just a different type of driving experience. No problem liking your Corvettes, your Camaros, your Mustangs, so on and so forth. But it's like you have to kind of respect what not only Hyundai is doing with the N branded cars like the Elantra N, but of course what their owners are doing. And that's what keeps the whole enthusiast group building of car enthusiasts, and that's important. But hopefully you had one hell of experience. I had one hell of experience. We're gonna get back to where it all started and wrap this one up, so I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys. It's been one of those great on throttle kind of days with Joel's Elantra N. Speaking of Joel, let's bring him on in here. Joel came all the way over to Orlando to bring his Elantra N onto the channel, and what was awesome was, I think you would admit, riding shotgun was a little different experience.
Absolutely. Being passenger princess for about a few, it was pretty scary. It really is. It's definitely not the same, but
I think you enjoyed that perspective. It's nice to have the perspective when you're behind the wheel, but also to be a passenger in your own car. You felt the mods.
Absolutely.
I felt the mods.
At some point when I was driving, I didn't really feel that much, but like I said, being passenger, you really felt everything. The car is so stable. So
it was wonderful. But this is what we like to bring. And let me know in the comment section if you're digging the Elantra N a little bit more, if you're happy with what Joel has done to the Elantra N. And like I said, make sure you follow him on Instagram. But let me know how you feel about that in the comment section. But of course, Joel, we got to tell them, if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you're a subscriber like Joel and the rest of the crew that came out from Orlando to watch this review in action, thank you for your support. Of course, we need to thank the man behind the lens. He didn't get to go for a spin today, but I know he's chomping at the bit for the next Radies Rise review. We got to thank Joel once again. Thank you. Let's stay it together. And like always, guys, we'll see you on the next ride.